Props you may need, if you have a bolster or a couple of pillows that are kind of narrow and firm like a bolster, you may want to use that at the end for your Shavasana, under the back so the shoulders can lay off the edge. We may use a strap for one pose. We're going to do a standing dancers. You can do it with or without. And then blocks you may want as we lead through camel pose and bridge. So we're a lot of back bending today, but I wanted you to make it work with what you need today. So as I progress to another variation, you can obviously, and give yourself grace, stay with the first example, if that's for you. Also, you can take rests where you need to, whether it be in child's pose, standing still, on your back, resting. So meet the needs that you have today, but I do feel like we can benefit from a little more postural strengthening. So this will work core, work our back muscles, stretch our front body. So it tends to be a little energizing, but also can be a little challenging in some cases. So Jojo, shall we begin? Okay, I've got a helper today. We'll take a moment in our seated position. You find that aligned spine that works for you. And as you ground through your sit bones and lengthen through the torso, enjoy the space you've created between the rib cage and your pelvis, the space between your ears and your shoulders. Check that you're not overextending through your spine, so keep space between the shoulder blades. As you lengthen through the crown of your head, softening muscles that you can, including through the face, the legs, the hips, and the hands. Allow yourself to become more present with your breath, creating a smooth and even rhythm in and out through the nose, Ujjayi breathing, if you know it. Using your breath to guide you into a state of more clarity. You should begin to zero in on an intention you'd like to set for today's practice. And to seal that practice, you can bring palms together at heart center to seal that intention. Your hands together at heart center and draw the chin in and down. And then lifting your head, softly opening your eyes. We'll go ahead and make our way into hands and knees position. So take a moment with toes tucked under to lift those outer ankles and press through your fingertips, remembering that anytime we're doing weight bearing through the arms and hands, to take that stress out of the wrist really helps to press through the fingerprints and feel that difference. Just move on your own through a few rounds of cat-cow. Bring some awareness to the range of motion you have today in the spine. And feel the muscles that help you move it in each of these directions. And then if you want to change, move more side to side or circular, feel free to do that. Then make your way back to a neutral position. And with the steadiness there, we're going to extend our right leg behind, toes are still on the ground, and just powerfully straighten that knee. Check that your hips stay level, as if you have a cup of tea you're wanting to stay balanced on your low back. And with your belly drawn in, not sinking toward the mat. You just lift the heel off the ground and hold it. As you continue to breathe there, you could find a little more balance by perhaps untucking the toe and pressing into the top of your foot, your choice. Option of bending that knee, sole of the foot towards the sky. And lifting the left arm with the thumb towards the sky. Final option would be to take that left arm around behind you and bring the foot towards the hand, allowing the hand to become a hook around the top of your foot. Push the foot into the hand, lifting the knee a little higher. Just enjoy curve it's creating in your spine, moving you into a bit more spinal extension. Gently release the foot back out behind you and the hand down, knee down. We'll switch to the other side, so just take your left foot behind you and powerfully straighten that knee, press back through the heel. Hips are level, option of lifting that leg. I find that gazing at the mat at just a particular spot can be useful in maintaining the balance. You could bend the knee now. Option of reaching out with the right hand, thumb towards the sky, bicep kind of in line with the ear. And finally, you could take that right arm behind you, find the top of your left foot and push the foot into the hand, bringing the foot and hand a little closer to the sky. And then you can release the foot and bring the hand and knee back to the mat. I'm gonna walk the knees back, so you're in a knee plank, and just bring your chest up and forward, broadening across the collarbones and lengthening the front of your neck. And then bring the neck in neutral and bend your elbows, slowly bring yourself all the way down to the mat. Untuck the toes and take your arms by your side, palms facing your thighs. You could place your forehead on the mat, or you can keep it lifted. And on an inhale, lift your pinkies toward the sky first and palms towards each other, and then begin to peel your chin and upper chest off the mat. Again, careful with the back of your neck so you're not bending too far there. You don't want a sharp angle, so your gaze is probably just beyond the edge of your mat on the floor. Stay there for one more inhale, and exhale, turn the palms toward the sky, release the arms, and then the forehead back to the mat. We'll do that one more time. So palms are towards the thighs, lift the arms toward the sky, palms toward each other, and then we'll peel the upper body off the mat a bit. If you'd like to, you can interlace the fingers and straighten the elbows and the arms and kind of assist in getting you a little higher. Stretching the pinkies up. And this time as you exhale, you can just bring your arms around and rest your head on your forearm. We'll move our attention to the lower body. Begin by powerfully lengthening through both legs and then keeping your right leg grounded. Lifting the left leg off the mat. It won't be high because I don't want you to lift that side of the pelvis off the mat. Just the leg, knee straight, and hold for a couple of breaths. Notice the muscles involved in helping this happen. Bring it back to the mat. For the other side, keep the left leg grounded. Right leg is straight as you lift it a few inches off the mat, keeping that side of your pelvis down. Lengthening up and back through your right toes. And releasing it back down. You can repeat one more on each side, or if you'd like to join me in doing both legs and holding a little bit longer, bring the legs together. Relax the forehead on your arms, and then squeeze the glute and lift both legs. Keep the feet pretty darn close. Knees as straight as possible. Breathe and hold. Otherwise, you're doing one side at a time for a couple of breaths each. And then release back to the mat. Nice. Keep the right hand where it is and reach back with the left arm. Bending the left knee, see if you can take hold of the top of that foot. These are places you could use the strap, or you could hold onto your pant leg. Once you have the top of your foot, want to check that you don't have the knee out to the side. Keep it in line with your hip. Push the foot into the hand. And some of you may enjoy lifting the thigh off the mat as you continue pressing into the hand. This is almost like a prone version of dancer's pose. We can even take this arm, right arm out, thumb to the sky. And then right arm back in place, release the leg, and bring the left arm around. As you reach back with the right, bend the right knee, take hold of your pant leg, strap, or top of your foot, and then bring that thigh in close to the other. Lengthen the tailbone toward the back edge of your mat so you're not overarching. That'll help you create a nice stretch and not strain your back. Begin pressing the foot into the hand. And if you'd like to lift the thigh off the mat, again, not letting it sway out to the right side, keeping it in line with your hip. Continue breathing with the option of reaching the left arm out in front and thumb towards the sky. And then bringing the arm back, releasing the foot. Taking both hands underneath each shoulder, elbows in, shoulders away from ears, press gently up into the hands, not too high. If you feel like you go a little higher, you can straighten elbows a little more, but careful to tune in to your back. And then press firmly into the fingertips and use your core to lift up and back. Tuck the toes under in the puppy dog. Press through the hands and fingers as you come back up. And bring yourself back to a regular hands and knees position. Take an inhale. And as you exhale, bring the forearms to the mat. So now elbows are under shoulder, palms are on the mat. And begin with your left leg. We're going to just take it back off the ground. And as you exhale, round the back, bring the knee in, tuck your chin. Inhale, extend the leg back, looking between your hands. Exhale, tuck the chin around the back, knee to chest. Again, inhale, reach back. Exhale, round. This time, reach up and go a little bit higher, knee is straight first. Option of bending that knee and kind of rolling the knee up towards the sky. I like to lift the left elbow to give a little bit more range. Your choice. And then bring the forearm down, the knee down, and we'll repeat on the right side. Reach the right leg back, knee is straight. Exhale, round the back, tuck the chin, knee to chest. Inhale, reach up and back. Exhale, knee to chest. Inhale, reach up and back. Exhale, knee to chest. One more time, reach up and back. This time, you can begin bending the knee, roll the foot over, and maybe lift that right elbow to get a little bit more of the twisting action. Good. And then elbow down, knee back down. And begin your hands back up to hands and knees. Good. Inhale, extend the right leg behind you. Exhale, bring the knee to chest. And then between your hands. So adjust as needed, get knee over ankle and maybe even slide left knee back a bit. Once you feel steady there, bring your hands up first to your hips. And maybe even use your left hand to remind that tailbone to release toward the floor. Notice how I kind of reduced the low back curve, engaging my lower abs. Continue that action while reaching the arms up or at heart center and shifting your hips forward, creating a stretch along the front of your left thigh. Option of taking the right hand back, maybe even finding the outside of that left thigh, and then palm reaching back toward the wall behind you. Only if you'd like to, creating more of some back extension. Check with your breath. Come slightly out of it and bring the right hand to the outside of your right knee. And you can create as much of a twist as you'd like here. Or you can sliding the right hand down the left leg a little bit farther. And then bring the body back to front. Finally, on this side, left hand comes to the mat. Right hand reaches up. And then take the back thumb to the sky. You can stay right there. Or bend the left knee and reach back for the top of that foot. Like we did on hands and knees. And begin gently pulling the heel if you need a deeper stretch towards your glutes. Keeping your hips forward and down. Deep full breath. Now you're probably feeling it more in your quads and your lower thigh muscles than earlier where you felt it perhaps higher on your thigh and your hip flexors. And then release the foot. Hand back to the mat. And bring your right foot back. Go into a modified plank pose. Modified upward facing dog pose. So shift your hips down and forward. Roll the shoulders down and back, lifting the chin. And feel that nice openness through the heart, the upper chest. And then come back to hands and knees. Lift the left leg behind you. And bring the foot all the way forward between the hands, making that alignment adjustments. Maybe slide the right knee back. When you feel steady through the foot, back lower leg and foot, and bring the hands up. Again, reminding your tailbone to lengthen, lower abs engaged. And then begin shifting the hips forward and down, hands at hard by the ears. You can stay right there, or bring that left hand around and behind you, finding the outside perhaps of your right thigh, and then turning the right palm backwards, and creating more of an arch in your back. Face is relaxed, breath is smooth. You can stay right there, or when you're ready, taking that left hand to the outside of your left thigh, creating a little bit of a twist. Maybe sliding the hand a little further down the right leg. Turning back to the front and bringing the right hand to the mat. Lift the left hand to the sky. Stay right there. You can reach it back, gazing at that thumb. Option of bending the right knee, finding the top of that foot, and bring the heel in towards you if you need a deeper stretch, while keeping the hips forward and down. Relax the grip of those left toes. Press into the fingertips of your right hand. And release the foot. Hands on each side of your left foot. This time we'll lift the knee up. Take the left foot back to meet it. You could stay with modified upward dog as we did, or with the toes tucked under this expression of upward facing dog, squeezing the thighs, lifting the heart. And then bring yourself to a regular plank. Knees could be down, but for a little extra core work, an option would be to take the hands forward toward the front edge of your mat. Step or two. Keep pushing back through your heels and feel the difference in that positioning. If you feel your hips start to sink, re-engage those lower abs. And then walk the hands back. and shift up and back to downward facing dog out of the Uttanasana. Take a few rounds of breath here. You be exhaling through your mouth if you're holding any tension. Shake out the head, relax the shoulders. Okay, so you can come back to hands and knees and do what we did before, or take it up to the next phase, which I'll lead you through by lifting the right leg up to the sky and bringing the foot all the way forward between the hands. So just as we did before, once you feel balanced, whether knee is up or down, come up, lining torso or shoulders over hips, engaging the lower abs, the straight back knee. Option of reaching the arms up by your ears. They can be wide to keep shoulders relaxed. And finally, taking that right hand behind you to find the left thigh, reaching up and back with the left. Option of taking it into a slight twist, left hand outside of the right thigh. Hands back to heart center as we come to center. And then hands meet the mat. Step back. First the plank. And then either modified upward facing dog or full expression of upward facing dog. Pressing the fingertips and tops of the feet. And then downward facing dog. To repeat on the left side, we'll reach the left foot high. And bring it all the way forward between the hands. Just do what you did on the opposite side, so knee up or down, planted through both feet. Hands up to heart, shoulders relaxed. Option of reaching the arms up. And taking the left hand behind and finding the right thigh. Right palm reaching up and back. But take the right hand outside the left thigh, finishing with a bit of a twist. And then back to center, hands at heart. Hands meet the mat. Stepping back to downward facing dog. And then inhale, look where you're going between the hands. And exhale, right where you are. Instead of coming standing, actually, I want to do one more thing. We'll just keep it from downward dog. So lift that right leg up and bring the foot forward as we did before. This time, option of going into Virabhadrasana feet. So spinning that back heel in and down. So you have a heel to heel alignment. Knee over right knee. Knee over right knee, knee over right ankle. And then bring in the hands and start at the heart. Feel free to be in lunge position for this. Good. Back knee is straight. Trying to keep that arch lifting. To encourage a little bit of pelvic rotation without forcing it, let's bring that left hand behind you so elbow is bent and the forearm is at your low back. Going to reach the right hand up, palm towards the back wall. And then again, pushing with the forearm into that left side a bit. As you reach up and back with your right arm. Back up to neutral. And take the right hand behind you. If available, interlace the fingers behind your back and draw the shoulders down and back. Stay here or fold forward, bringing your right shoulder to or toward the right thigh, relaxing the back of your neck, arms overhead. And now release the hands, one on each side of your right foot as you pivot to the ball of your left. Step back to plank. Move into your expression of a heart opener here. I'm in full expression of Urdhva Mukha Svanasana. And exhale, downward dog. For the other side, left leg high. Bring it forward between the hands. To move into Virabhadrasana once, spin that back heel in and down. Plant into the outer blade of that foot as you straighten the knee. Encourage that right hip to drop a bit. And then bring your torso up, hands at heart center. Stay here or reach the arms up. Shoulders relax. You can stay there with palms facing each other. Or bring the right forearm behind you. And press the right hip slightly forward. Left palm now facing back as you reach up and back with your left arm. Back up to neutral. Both hands up. And then at heart center. Hands at the waist. And taking as many steps as you'd like, you just come up to the front edge of your mat and standing. While we let our body adjust, we're going to do a little something for our wrists. So I'm just interlacing the fingers, forearms are together, and then keeping the base of the palms together. You're just going to make circles one way a few times, and then the other way. I don't know about you, but one way feels a lot easier than the other. Good. And then shake out the wrists. Let's take the left arm in front and fingers pointing down. Just add a little bit of pressure to the back of your hand for a stretch. Shoulders relax. And then switch to the other side. Nice. We'll move into dancer pose. So if you need to find a wall or your strap, we'll do 2 times on each side, so that you can take it up a notch or stay where you are or take it down a notch, okay? So we'll do the first one without a strap. And begin placing more of your weight on your right foot, relaxing the toes, checking that you're not pressing into the back of that right knee. With your gaze on something in front of you, you can just bend the left knee, taking the foot off the mat. You can even keep the toe down. But if you'd like to go to the next spot, then just bring that foot off the mat, reach back with your left hand and find the top of your foot. And then realign. I'm going to turn towards you. So right now my leg's out to the side. I want to bring it in and slightly back. So it's next to my right thigh. Let's from there begin pressing left foot into the hand, left foot into the left hand. And you can bring the right hand up. You can continue to reach the left knee back and the right arm high if you'd like to. Careful not to let that left knee splay out to the side. And you can even bend forward slightly. Bring yourself back up to neutral. Release the foot and take a moment to Tadasana. Preparing for the other side, begin shifting your weight into the left foot. Check that the knee joint is soft, not locked. Take the right toes behind you. And you can lift that foot off the mat. Reach back with your right hand, making a hook with your hand. Line up the thighs. Keep your low back lengthening. You can begin pushing the foot into the hand, left hand in front. Option of continuing higher with the foot and the arm, bending at the left hip slightly. Still breathing. Powerful pressing into that right hand. And then back up to neutral. and releasing. Take a moment to Tadasana. Before repeating with the option of a strap, let's take the feet about hip width apart. Bend the knees and place the hands just above the thighs. You can even let your shoulders shrug for a moment. And then bring the shoulders away from the ears and do a little standing cat-cow. So rounding and extending a few times. Maybe holding that cat position. Just stretch out the back. And then 1 or 2 more times. And then come back up to standing. You can repeat what we just did, or use your strap for this next round. If you're using the strap, you can follow along with me, otherwise on your own. We're balancing on the right and lifting the left foot up. So foot is, or strap is around the foot. I'm going to start bringing my arm behind, but then elbow in, so that my bicep is by my ear. If I'd like to, I can take the right hand to help and begin walking my hands down the strap, trying to keep my elbows in close, not swaying to the side. It's going where it works for you. And then slowly releasing that side, taking the foot out of the strap, into Tadasana. Ready for the other side? Okay. Strap group can take that strap around the foot, bring the foot behind you. And then on your own, begin moving into your expression of dancer's pose. Breathing. And then slowly bringing yourself out of it. And you can release your strap. Great. We're going to make our way to our knees to move through camel, but don't worry, we're going to give our back a little stretch before we do it. So let's inhale from here, reach up to the sky. And exhale, open the arms out to the side, bend the knees, and just hinge at the hips forward. And now let's walk the feet till they're about hip width apart. Soften the back of the neck, and just release into this gentle forward fold, maybe holding opposite elbow, and swaying a little bit. The space increase between your vertebrae along the spine. Returning to the intention that you set. Release the fingertips by the toes and come into your expression of a halfway lift, Ardha Uttanasana. And as you exhale, take the hands flat. Step back to downward facing dog. And then bend the knees. Find your blocks, if you're going to use them, and bring them back by your legs, 1 on each side if you have 2. And then we're going to keep the toes tucked under. And see if your body will allow you to sit on the heels. If not, you can use your blocks and add a little pressure into the blocks or hooks. Another wrist circling. Do that here while we stretch our toes. Okay. Gonna come off the heels. And we'll keep the toes tucked under. I'll lead through 3 expressions of camel. You do the one that's right for you. And you don't have to progress to the various examples. First one, we really don't need our blocks, but you can untuck the toes because we're not even born for our feet. We're gonna just take our hands at our low back, fingers pointing down, or fists at our low back. Lengthen the tailbone towards your knee creases, towards the mat, engaging the lower abs. Draw the shoulders down, elbows in close. Start to take your gaze and chest slightly up towards the sky, keeping the hips pressing forward as you move into a slight back bend. So that you can't perhaps see yourself, and I don't want you turning your neck to look at me, but just tune into whether your hips feel like they're lined up over your knees as opposed to being way back over your calves or ankles. That you want them over your knees. You're breathing, feel the heart opening, throat opening. Come out of it, you can even place one hand behind your head, and use your hand and ass to come back to neutral. Release the hands down. Great. And stay with that variation, or move along with me. Tucking the toes under. Option of using blocks. Instead of grabbing your feet, the blocks will be on the outside of your feet, close to your ankles. Turn either way. Okay, I'm going to leave this one out of the way, but I'll leave my other block there. So you just kind of see options for hands. So you won't be doing me. You'll either have both hands on blocks or books, or both hands on the pillow. The start is the same. Lengthening the low back, hands at heart center, hips stacked over knees. Feet and knees stay hip width apart, and bring your hands or fists to the low back. As before, start lifting your gaze, lifting your heart more and more to the sky, creating some back extension with the option of reaching for your heel or your block, and then shifting your hips forward one more time so they stay stacked over knees. If it's comfortable and okay with your neck, you can take the head back a little bit more, just don't let it completely drop. You gotta use some neck muscles here. Still breathing. Come out of it, you can place one hand at your low back, one at your head. Push yourself back up to neutral. Relaxing the hands. We'll do child's pose after our third. I kind of like to do 3 in a row so we don't overstretch and go back and forth too much. Stay with one of those, or for full variation, our toes are untucked. Means we're gonna have to reach back a little deeper to place hands on the feet. Start with hands at heart center, check in with your breath and intention. Move fists or hands to your low back. And begin leading yourself into the pose. With the option now of reaching back for your heels, fingers will point towards the toes, and then shifting your hips forward. Breathing into that front body as you enjoy that stretch. Chin, across the chest, the abs, and the hip flexors. Still breathing. Come out of it, one hand at the low back, one hand either at the sky or your head, and bring yourself back up to neutral. Take a moment there. We're going to move very slowly into child's pose. We don't want to move our back too quickly into the opposite direction, so you can settle down into your heels. I'm going to do traditional Balasana with my knees in line with the hips. Walk the hands forward. Go ahead and round the back heel with hand support. And then continue bending the elbows to bring your chest down. Tuck your chin so crown of the head meets the earth. And bring your arms by your legs, palms up. Let your shoulders become heavy and drop towards the earth. Send the warmth of your breath into the back, wherever you feel tension. You can even make fists and kind of tap your low back.
Muscles along each side of your spine. And then release the hands down. A few more mindful breaths here in your child's pose. And then you can come up from there or use your hands under your shoulders to press yourself back up.
Shift yourself to one side and bring the legs around. Last few things will be on our back, so if you need any Shavasana props, you can go ahead and grab them. Just close the door. Let's start with the legs out in front of you for a moment, finding your sit bones in Dandasana. And then bend your knees. Wrap your arms around the shins and drop your head forward. Using your arms as leverage, kind of push into your low back. Come back up to a neutral spine. Make sure you have room behind you. And slowly come down onto your back. Let's take one breath with long legs, long arms before our bridge pose. Stretch the fingers and toes. And then arms by your side. Last challenge, 3 bridge poses. Yours could just be the same one each time as with others. Or you can progress toward full wheel pose, those that know back bend. I'm not going to fully instruct through that, so please don't try it for the first time here if you've never done it. Bridge pose gives you many of the same effects without any strain or stress on your head, okay? So first one will be traditional bridge pose. Heels in close, hip width apart with the feet and knees. Turn the palms up as you draw the belly down towards the mat and begin lifting the hips up. Keeping the knees hip width apart, the chin away from the chest. Any arm variation you like. Keep some weight under the base of your big toe and inner heel. And then release the arms out of the way and slowly roll down. You can windshield wiper the knees to each side. And prepare for round 2. If you are in need of restorative, instead, you can use your block to support your sacrum like we've done in the past with bridge. Otherwise, round 2. Draw the belly in, start lifting the hips, the low back, the mid back. Interlacing the fingers, draw the shoulders away from the ears, chin away from the chest. Option of bending the elbows and placing the base of your palms at your sacrum, almost like a block that you're using your hands. You can lift one leg at a time if you'd like. And then if they're in the way, move the hands and slowly roll back down. You can windshield wiper the knees. Last time, option of staying with one of those, or for those that are comfortable with it, move into full wheel. I personally haven't done it in a while either, but I feel warmed up enough to attempt. And I'll walk you through that, those that have done it before and want to attempt it. So same starting position with the lower body as bridge. Hands are going to come up by the ears with the fingers pointing toward the shoulders. If you're tight, those elbows are going to splay a lot. You don't want that. So try to bring elbows towards each other.
You can watch me first because I don't want you turning your head once you're starting the pose. But you lift up, barely touching the head to the floor as you bring the elbows back in line with each other, shoulder and wrist width apart, and then press into the hands and feet to straighten the elbows. Keep some weight under the inner edges of your feet. Some of you might want to take knees a little straighter. And after a few breaths, you'll come out the same way carefully, gently lowering head, softly tucking the chin, and then releasing yourself down. So I'll give you a second to get where I am, in case you started after. Great. And then arms out of the way, let's windshield wiper those knees, left and right a few times. And then hug the knees into your chest. Exhale your forehead to the knees. Release the head back down. Moving into happy baby with the knees apart, soles of the feet to the sky. As you encourage the knees down toward the mat, also think about lengthening your lower back and sacrum down into the mat. Knees back to chest, rock side to side a time or two. And we'll finish up with a spinal twist to each side before Shavasana. So any leg position you like, we can stay here. I'm going to cross my right leg over my left. We're going to take the knees to the left first. So knees to the left, arms out to the side, gazing to the right. Knees back to center. Setting up for the other side. And then knees to the right, gaze to the left. Knees and head back to center. Realign your spine. And then for your Shavasana, if you want to continue with the chest opening, you could use a bolster. And place it along the length of your back. If it's not long enough, you may want to keep your knees bent, but if you can get your entire spine on there, you could either straighten the knees, or I would personally like to go into knees wide, soles of the feet together, arms slightly away. So your choice of Shavasana positions. As always, I will lead you into the pose. We'll all remain there together for a little bit. But then you can mute me and continue with a longer Shavasana, which you deserve and should take. When ready to continue, you can unmute or bring yourself safely out. So feel the body become heavy. The muscles start to soften. Perhaps become aware of any increased flow of energy from places that felt stuck for your practice. And enjoy as your breath just begins to find its own natural rhythm.
As your eyes soften behind your eyelids. Your tongue relaxes away from the roof of your mouth. Your lips part. If you find the stillness difficult, use your mind to just instead travel through each body part, starting with your feet. And just imagine that you are creating complete wellness and balance to each part, within each organ, through your connective tissue, and through your blood. For those ready to come out of Shavasana, this new state of wellness and health, begin to wiggle your fingers and toes. Use your hands to bring your knees back together if you are positioned like I was. Stretch the arms overhead. You could also stretch through the legs. And then bend the elbows, and especially if you're on a holster, be super careful. If you let your legs come to the side first, and slowly roll. Press up with one hand. Find your sitting position. Eyes can remain closed. As you find yourself in a place of new freshness, vitality. Lessons of gratitude for taking this time for self-care. Allow yourself to be completely there the rest of your day. If you'd like to bring hands together at heart center. Remembering the intention you set and let it carry you through the rest of your day. And softly open your eyes. Thanks for your practice today and for sharing your energy and your time with me. Have a great rest of your Tuesday.